Good evening, Shushmita.
Good evening, Dr. Bose. Good evening, Partho. Please come. Let us begin Embrace Zindegi once again after almost 2 months, I guess. And well, there is a valid reason for it, isn't it?
Yes, for everything, when the show was getting so popular, there must be some reason for this little gap
Yeah,
in
for
Embrace Zindagi. In
this.
fact, I'm getting a lot of mails and WhatsApp. He said, "What happened, Dr. Bose? You're missing us."
I think the gap is absolutely validated for the very fact that today we are here to demonstrate our resilience. Friends, on 24th November, I met with a horrific accident and I literally had to be pulled out of the car. And it was Dr. Bose and Mosumi Bose, his wife. They came to rescue me, and the rest is history. The friends, the circle of trusted friends, family members who I had to completely fall upon to get me out of my situation. Today, I still don't have vision on my right eye, which they say will be rectified very soon. But we are here to take you onto this journey that what we have experienced through this accident and through this trauma. And Dr. Bose is I think, the right person to share with you.
Yes, I fully empathize with you, and that is our topic: is have empathy, not sympathy.
Empathy.
So we all should empathize with what is happening around us. I know you have gone through a very horrific experience. It's good that we are a very good community support, and God has been very kind, and we were all there, and things happened very fast, and emergency could be taken care of smoothly. But I still feel that yes, there are challenges, but one should continuously empathize with the people around you, with the situations around you, and that is all the topic we are going to discuss today.
Yes, I'm just holding this key in my hand, as you can see. It is absolutely metaphor for Kindle empathy within you. I think it's a very powerful statement. Kindle just like the diya within us, within our heart. We kindle empathy. And how do we do that? That's a very long process and it's a very strong statement. So, how do we go about creating empathy within us? How does it help us?
Shumi, before I get into all those things, because empathy has become a very buzzword, like a wellness and all,
Yes,
and it's a very serious word, and you have to be very, passionately, skilled to understand empathetic
absolutely.
emotions. And when we talk of empathy, is that when we say that feeling into somebody else's shoes is not a very loose term. It has got two components. One is the affective component, is a cognitive component.
Right.
Now I tell you what exactly is affective and cognitive component, and before we go into the explanation of how we can simulate or stimulate empathy in a human system, let me give you some few anecdotal experiences.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Look, the first situation is that I'm invisible, and this is a situation
Yeah.
when you go around in an airport and you
All
see
of us
all the
experience
experience.
every
You go to
day.
the washroom, you
Yeah.
will find
Yeah.
the youngsters, they're taking care of those washrooms.
Right.
They are very shiny
Right.
and clean. Have you ever thought of that? Without these people, what would
What
have
would be?
been the situation of these washrooms? Have you ever said thank you to these people?
Yes, I guess, Dr. Bose, it begins right from the beginning when you teach your child to say thank you to the Didi and
Yeah, so I
Bhaiyas.
think your attitude should be the gratitude, and that's why I said,
Yes.
when I say the first anecdotal experience,
Yeah.
I'm invisible. Let's remove the word I am. Let's
Wonderful. What a
I am
wonderful
visible.
thought.
See the
So I
things
am visible.
visible. I think that is the
Absolutely.
first thing we have to skill ourselves, that
Absolutely.
I am visible, and that is the first stage
And
of
that's such a
empathy.
power,
That's such a
right?
power,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that that has both the you have to be affectively and cognitively connected to the situation. The number two, I'm still here.
I'm
Now,
here.
what is still here is that I'll tell you my 30 years of my clinical experience. I can want to share you that there was a lady, highly well-read, highly scholared lady comes to me
Yeah.
with dementia, and the doctor says, "Okay, doc, let me tell you, this is what she does. She loses her temper. She's becoming
Yeah.
this and that.
Yeah.
She's hallucinating."
Huh.
So, and that lady tries to stop her daughter. Doc,
Yeah.
let me also say.
All right.
So then I stopped that daughter. I said, let her speak
Let
out.
her speak.
She's still there.
So
That
you
doesn't
mean
mean
to say validate voice?
validate voice. That means
Voice.
if somebody is having
Yeah.
some problems, maybe he's
Yes.
losing his cognitive shin, that does
Yeah.
not mean you don't value that person.
That means he hasn't lost it
So
completely.
that means you're still there. Now,
Absolutely.
number third anecdotal situation is
Yeah.
that I'm still here. Like for
Hmm.
example, I remember, and the other day in the downtown, I was just walking from my late night, dinner, and I had some leftover I was carrying. I found some homeless couples just sitting on the road.
Yeah.
I walked up to
Yeah.
them. I said, "Hi, how are you
Yes.
doing?" He says, "Good that you asked me how we are doing." I said, "This is. Will you like to share some food?"
Yeah.
And they were so happy, and they said they are refugees. They are well-read
Yeah.
people. They're looking.
Yeah.
They're homeless.
So, Doc, I take one point from here. First of all, you said, "How are you?" That means it is not a no donation that you're giving. You're not giving alms. You ask them, so there is a reciprocal
Yes,
feeling.
that means you're asking me. It's not that anybody homeless who is sitting there,
Yeah.
they are drag addicts or they are lousy people or they
And
are
the
not.
secondly,
They
like,
have their own respect. We have
yes,
to respect their
absolutely.
person. They are human beings.
And the next aspect about your offering this food, you said, "Let us share."
Yes,
So that
sharing is
means
very
it is
important,
not
and
bhiksha.
it's not bhiksha because that stimulates that ignites that kind of
Yeah,
passion which is creating
wonderful.
with a symbol. And the last,
Yeah.
the most important anecdotal experience is that I'm not stupid. Like for
Yes.
example, I tell you another experience in one of
Yeah.
my sessions. There was a Down syndrome, and the father was saying that dog this and that he's not growing his. Then suddenly that child says, "Doc, I know I'm not that smart like you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
listen to me.
But
So
listen to
I'm
me.
not stupid. You talk to me the
Yes.
way I think." So then I said, "Yes, you have to understand."
Yeah.
So let me tell you, if I really want to, you know, stimulate the discussion of empathy, these four
Yeah.
anecdotal things should be your mantra. I can say, I am not
Visible.
invisible, I'm visible.
Visible.
I'm still here.
Yes, right?
I'm still here.
Yes.
And I'm not stupid.
I'm not stupid. I guess, Doc, it happens at every level of relationship. If you see, the father thinks the son is stupid, the teacher thinks the student is stupid, and then your boss thinks you're stupid. So if you can eliminate at every stage, give this invisible person a voice, make him visible, let's validate his presence, and then listen to and affirm that what you're feeling is exactly perhaps I too shall go through, right?
Absolutely, in this journey of empathy, which is actually a journey, you have to appreciate every small things, and as I told you, my this four anecdotal experience that you know uh, I'm not stupid, or I'm still here, I'm still there, or I'm visible. All these things are not only an anecdotal experience, and if you ask yourself, these are the things we are not asking enough. And
Yes.
when we talk of this, it's very important that by doing this, you're actually skilling yourself by doing this, because these are actually what we call a
Yes.
neuroplasticity. It is a new
Exactly.
skill set. You're
Yes.
stimulating your neural wires
Yes.
to think like
Yes.
that.
And you too, become quiet for a while, listen to the person, and go through an inward journey. Let me tell you, right now, with this kind of partial visibility, I'm completely, in a state of inward journey. And there's so many things that you discover about yourself. More you discover yourself, more you discover, appreciate your partner or any relationships that you have.
Absolutely. When we do talk about empathizing with somebody, so you have to understand that, you have to, go through that similar kind of experiences. It is not that how you feel in that moment. You have to create that sequence again in your mind. You have to create the
Yes.
story back in your mind that this perhaps could have happened to this man.
Walk the
So
steps.
you have to walk the stores, you have to draw the storyline, you have to write the
Yes.
script again. Then only you can release those hormones to feel for that person.
And each and every person around you or yourself, when you have the trust fall and you know it is not the sympathy that you're seeking for, believe me, when I went back to work, nobody sympathized with me. They just endorsed the very feeling, the very act that I was willing to work. So they made it possible, and that is the highest form of empathy, I guess.
Shumi, here I want to, quote your example. One beautiful thing which I've experienced in the last 6 weeks of your experience. I've seen that it was a very horrific experience. We were all there. You lost your right vision, but not a single day I've seen you're losing the hope. You're with this loss, you're trying to give your best to the others, you're giving to the school, to the
Absolutely.
community at large, and you keep talking is then how I can help that person. And I've not seen you crying. So maybe that when you have a community or the people, when you value each other, when you create that kind of connect or what you call a kind of resonance, then what happens? Empathy starts resonating. So you don't
Yeah.
feel low. So you still
Yes.
positive. So I think
Yes.
probably empathy is such a beautiful emotion when you create that resonance
Yeah.
within the ecosystem.
It is very addictive,
It is addictive, so you
Yes.
create the negative thoughts into your positive thoughts. So what i
Yes.
what I saw, that despite your with your vision diminishing, but I think the positivity in your life is much more enhancing, much more, because you see that the people who are there, and there are people with joyfully and rightfully empathizing
Right.
with your own
Right.
emotions, and they are also drawing the same kind of script what you are going in your cognitive experiences, and that is probably making you feeling so positive. Am I right?
Absolutely. I think it's working even on my facial muscles. As you can see, because of the steroids, probably, there's a lot of podginess. But the very fact that you are smiling always, and the smiles or the muscles, they release hope hormones, right?
Absolutely.
And that is, I think, I'm sort of exuding to everybody else. Whoever comes to ask me how I am, with a smile, bright smile, say, it's okay. This too shall pass.
This should pass, and because when you see that, yes, my emotions are also been shared with the people whom we
You care.
care and whom we respect, whom we value.
Yeah.
So the sharing becomes very purposeful, and it becomes very positive and addictive.
Absolutely. So what we are saying today, is it possible? Do you grow with empathy? Or is it that you have to culture empathy within you?
No, no, no. It's you don't grow with empathy, because you will find children with a similar kind of homogeneous ecosystem, with a similar
Ecosystem.
kind of struggle and all. They have a different kind of
Level
empathetic
of
level of
empathy.
empathy. It's not. I think it's a totally neuroplastic behavior.
Okay.
Only thing, you have to continuously skill yourself. If you value a human system, if you think there's a purpose of life, and if you think that every human being should be respected, and then only you can think on those. It's basically it is a continuously stimulating your cognitive perception to that level, so that you value other human being.
So that means, Doc, you're saying however much we say that we are busy and we are running around, but pause for a cause when you know there is a purpose. Just give yourself that few seconds and extend your hand, extend yourself rather than just the hand. And even to pick somebody up, don't just pick up and let them be. Just hold the hand for a little while because that person might need it so, right?
I'll tell you a little experience which I was remembering my great father, and he used to say that every human being who is born today, when you're born healthy, when you have born with the right kind of thought process, and you have a purpose in life, and you
Right.
have been programmed for 100 years, and that's why there's a beautiful saying in Hindi
Yeah.
कि आप चार पैसे कमाओ. No, you know what is the चार पैसे कमाओ? The first पैसा you need for yourself.
Okay.
The second पैसा means, उसको कहते हैं कि आप जमीन पे गाड़ दो. जमीन पे गाड़ दो
Okay.
means you may have a COVID time.
Right.
जैसे कुएं में फेंक दो.
So,
take a- So when you
yeah,
have a COVID time,
for
you
your
need that extra,
difficult days.
difficult days.
Yeah.
तीसरा पैसा आप जमीन पे लगाओ, मतलब it will
Let it grow.
let it grow, that
Yeah,
you need for the
multiply.
children education or whatever.
Yeah.
But चौथा पैसा आपका नहीं है, that you have to give
Yeah.
back. Something like empathy is also, it's like your fourth पैसा. You have to
Absolutely.
give back. You have to really
Absolutely.
stimulate yourself, you have to skill yourself, you have to
Yeah.
enhance yourself to go for that fourth paisa. I think it is that serotonic behavior. It is a part of your hormonal behavior. If you understand the value of life, four paisa, which our great parents taught us, I think we can develop the concept of empathy in human being, because the last paisa, the last 25% doesn't belong to you, and that is only possible when you empathize with the right kind of cognitive thinking.
Right. So it is just like planning your clothes or planning your day routine. I guess just give yourself, before you go to sleep, just give yourself the accounts of the day. And did you do that? Did you practice that act of empathy, which should be absolutely purposefully, deliberately done? And this is to enhance yourself, to enhance your spiritual being and your well-being, isn't it?
Absolutely. When we talk of, what is the, I say, outcome assessment of your empathy skill set, you have to get up in the morning and say, look, yes, I've taken care of ourselves, I've do good for my profession or whatever you're doing. Have you done something extra to create a value system? Maybe you've donated a blood, or probably you've helped somebody, or maybe helped somebody to cross the road. It's a small thing. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be big.
yeah,
Then once you come back home, you add all those things. How
absolutely.
was
You
my day?
count the
What?
acts.
Count that. Count those
Yeah,
points.
count those
If you
points.
find your points are not growing, that means you are not empathizing with the human system or the people around you. So I think this validation is possible when every moment you do something to go beyond yourself.
Right,
And let me tell you one thing, as you said that this is a neuroplastic behavior and it is a neurobiological science too. Let me
right,
explain you.
right.
Now, what happens, the biggest science now, the whole world, ever since we have those machines called functional magnetic resonance imaging system,
Okay.
where you can map the brain. Now we can map the empathy also. Now
Okay.
it has said that
So there is an empathy quotient.
there's an empathy quotient, and I
Okay.
said that
Okay.
it is something like empathy quotient comes, there are two mechanisms, the
Okay.
neurobiological mechanisms, the functional MRI. They have found out that when you have that kind of, when you're empathizing genuinely with somebody, there are certain active areas in the brain which get stimulated.
Stimulated, yeah.
So there are two theories which has been mentioned. One is bottom up theory, and it's called top bottom theory. Now, what is the
Yeah.
bottom up theory? Is that it is called mirror imaging, or
Right.
what is called mirror neuron,
Neuron
system,
system.
MNS system. Now, what
MNS.
happens?
Yeah. Yeah.
This was first seen in monkeys. They have
Yeah.
found that you create some gestures, like for example, touching, caressing,
And they
helping,
mirror you.
and they mirror you.
Yeah.
They mirror you. Or
Yeah.
this is, this is the front portion of the brain,
Yeah.
the prefrontal complex, and the parietal lobe, inferior parietal lobule. So these are
Yeah.
the two areas, the prefrontal cortex and the parietal lobe, because brain had different lobes, the four lobes, and they are connected to your visual areas, the back of the brain. So visual
Okay.
area sees
Okay.
what you're doing,
Okay.
and you said that, okay, you hello.
So that
He will also
means-
feel that hello inside you. He feels good. He
Yeah.
starts releasing the good hormone. It's called MNS system. It's
Right,
called
right.
bottoms up theory. And it has been found that it can happen in two ways. Like either you can do some gestures, you do some
Mimic,
actions,
mimic.
it happens, or it's called canoeing. That means you do some,
Actions.
Actions.
That are, yeah.
that also can
Yeah.
replicate it. So it's a beautiful thing. So one is a mirror image concept and MNS, and I think that's
So that
why.
means you're saying that when we do mirror imaging, we also go through the similar experience, and we tend to experience the pain or the sorrow or the misery that the other person is
So
going
this
through.
MNS system we are talking a lot about this mirror neuron system, and which is the front portion of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, parietal
Yeah.
lobe, and also your limbic
Yeah.
system. The second
Yeah.
area is very interesting. It's called top bottom theory. What
Top-bottom
is called
theory.
it's called mimicry. Now, what has
Right.
happened? Like for example, somebody goes through a pain. Like for example, we handle those palliative care and painful situations
Yeah.
in the end of the
Yeah.
life areas.
Yeah.
There you have to mentalize it.
Right.
You have
Right.
to conceptualize.
Right.
That yes, this person must be going through this
Through
kind
this
of pain,
kind of pain.
because you
Yeah.
understand the anatomy
Yeah.
and the biology of
Yeah.
the whole human system.
Yeah.
So it is called mentalizing on,
Yeah.
or you create the mimicry in your brain,
Yeah.
and that can create a high level of empathy. You can start empathizing, and when you create a top bottom concept, when you start mimicking, it has been found that the person who is going through the pain, I'm talking about this end of the life care issues, the pain perception comes down. You have to perceive that pain.
And also, doctor, I think it's very important to say that when we are saying empathizing and feeling the pain, it is not essentially to imbibe the pain. It is the mechanism to create to how to get over the pain.
Yeah.
Right?
So absolutely. So when we talk of this bottom up or top down theory of
Yeah.
stimulating your MNS systems, or your what you call mentalizing neural wires, it is basically you enhance the coping system
make yourself stronger.
Yeah, you make your coping system stronger.
Yeah.
You share your coping system. It is something. It
Yes.
has been found when you do the right kind of empathy by your gestures, by your communication, through your eye contact with your experiences, you can bring down the complications or
Yeah.
the pain perception by 50%, it has been
And for
found.
both, for the sufferer
And you can be a
as
great
well as for
healer also. An
yourself.
empathetic person
Absolutely.
can be a great healer.
Yeah, always.
And
Always.
and that's why I say that this is a very interesting. If you can create a mirror image, and I can tell you, Shumi, the person who is empathizing,
Yeah, okay.
he doesn't need a certificate. His
Yeah.
gestures speak,
Yeah.
his actions speak,
Absolutely.
and he doesn't need a validation because it is a resonance which you enjoy, and you get you become like a magnetic
Right.
personality. The people
Right.
get attracted because it is a something like release of some good hormones. You create that
Right.
feel good hormones
So,
in your
in
system.
spite of the misery around you, you still manage to feel good.
Yeah.
And you transmit that to the person.
You know,
you're
I can
taking
I can
care
tell
of.
you in your case, I
Yeah.
can tell you that when you
Yeah.
found that myself being there, I'm honored to be there. My wife is there, and people supported you, and your near and dear ones and the faculty and all institute helped you. What happened? You felt good,
Yeah.
and when you feel good, you release good hormones,
Yeah.
endorphins.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
feel more positive. You
Yeah.
release dopamine. The most important thing, what happens when you empathize with this, you release the love hormones, the oxytocin
Right,
hormones.
right,
You feel being
right,
loved.
right.
So you feel being respected, and that is how your pain perception comes down. Your negative thoughts go away.
And also, at the time when I was, I was being taken to the OT. That was around 11:30, mind you. In All India Medical Sciences, we had the senior surgeons, the doctors working round the clock, and how it was important to make them feel that they're doing something so great.
Absolutely, and also I want to add here that when you are very empathetic, and it's something like I put it like a cosmic wellness. Everything,
Yes.
all the planetary bodies, they start oscillating with the same frequencies, and you get everything comes in an order. You will find
Absolutely.
everything happens for good.
Yeah.
And I think this is a beautiful empathy. It's a very new science,
New
and
science.
it's a neurobiological science, but there are certain things which you can do it to enhance empathy. You may ask me, how can I enhance empathy
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
my own parents, my near and dear ones? There are
Yeah.
certain things. There are certain practical tips you can do. As I told you, as I mentioned, that this is a neuroplastic behavior. So you can skill your neural wires. Like, for example, go through those simulators you've seen,
Right.
the simulating
Right.
experiences.
Right.
You can have those video images
Yeah.
of the acute
Yeah.
painful simulation. As
Right.
is something
Right.
like, for example, you see somebody is nailing your fingers,
Yeah.
and go through that video. Then
Yeah.
only you can release those good hormones or MNS neurons. Or you can see somebody crushing your fingers in the door hinge. This kind of experiences you start giving and help them to release. There are certain cartoon images are there.
Yeah.
These are called emotional images,
Yeah.
which you can go through as a visual imagery to enhance your empathy system.
Yeah.
Then, of course, doing some community services where those who are not that privileged to giving back. As I told you, the last paisa doesn't belong to you, which is a serotonic behavior that
Right.
also enhancing.
Right.
And of course, if you follow a concept of that every life has a purpose.
Yeah. Every life has a purpose. Every being around you, whether it is the tiniest of animal and creatures to the biggest of trees and your friends and family, to have that little pause, little for cause, and that little bit of empathy in you for everybody around.
Absolutely, Shumi. As I always say, that there is a cause for every pause, and every pause has a cause.
Yeah.
And I said the life, if I elaborate it, life is living well with
Yes.
people around you.
Yeah.
I for integrity with relationships, which
Yeah.
is very important.
Yeah.
It should not be sympathy, it's true empathy. F is fun, frolic, and you should enjoy kind of fun. And then only you can go into that E,
Absolutely.
a sense of empathy and enjoying a sense of well-being.
And in my case, I can say, I'm blessed, truly blessed to have such an institution backing me up, my friends and family, and the trusted circle around me. It is just wonderful. So the last word is embrace empathy, right?
Absolutely. And I said that embrace that key which you told you.
Absolutely.
That is the most important. You have the
Kindle
key
empathy within you.
within you, and everybody have your own key.
Absolutely.
And use the key
To your happiness.
to your happiness. It's
Nice.
your key. You have to value that key. You have to enhance your key and take care of your key.
How beautifully said. Thank you so much. See
Take
you
care.
again. Take
Bye-bye.
care and keep in touch.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.